For full details, including terms and conditions, visit unlock.com/legal. Call 1-888-780-6854 to speak with a representative today. Actor Portrayal. Terms and conditions apply.
Lisa, thanks for having me over. Your new kitchen is gorgeous. How'd you find the money to do it?
We worked with this great company, Unlock. They help you unlock the future value of your home to get the cash you need today.
So it's a home equity loan?
No, it's not a loan at all. There's no monthly payments and no interest charges ever. And you can use the money however you want. We were able to redo our kitchen and pay off our credit card debt.
Wow, Jack and I could really use this to finally pay off our old student loan debt. How do I get started?
It's easy. Just give him a call or go to unlock.com.
Call 1-888-780-6854 to unlock the value in your home and get up to $500,000 in cash with no monthly payments and no interest ever. Use the money for home improvements, to pay off debt, or to add to your retirement fund. It's up to you. Visit unlock.com. That's unlock.com or call 1-888-780-6854 now to get started.
This episode of Trip Tales is presented by Level 8 Luggage. You guys know I'm trying to be better about being a carry-on girl, and I think I found my new favorite. I just got the 20-inch carry-on from Level 8 Luggage in the prettiest light pink. And not only is it super cute, but it's also incredibly practical. It's light as a feather, has 360-degree spinner wheels that glide like a dream, and an anti-scratch surface so it still looks great even after multiple trips. Right now, Level 8 is running a special July anniversary promo. You can get 20% off site-wide with the code PREAS20 at level8cases.com. Again, that's PREAS20 for 20% off, and I've got that code and link for you right in the show notes. Make travel less of a burden and a lot more stylish with Level 8 Luggage. Welcome to the Trip Tales podcast with me, Kelsey Graves. Let's jump into a new episode exploring a vacation destination that you'll want all the details about. Hey everyone, welcome back to Trip Tales, the podcast where real people share their real trip stories to give you destination inspiration and practical planning tips. Today is going to be a fun one because we are going to be learning everything we need to know about one of Disney's newer cruise ships, the Treasure, with my guest, Carly Wiesel from the Very Amusing podcast. So welcome, Carly. Thank you so much for being here.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me. Listen, I'm talking to people at parties and meals about Disney Cruise Line. So to be able to do it in an official capacity beyond my own podcast, thrilling.
I love it. I start every episode with a rapid fire get to know you. So tell everyone where you live, what you do, and about your family.
I live in Los Angeles. I am a theme park journalist and podcaster, which means that some days I'm asking like actually hard-hitting questions about themed destinations, and other days I feel like my life is a scam. I'm like, oh, tough day. I got to go to Disneyland. And I'm like, what is this adult life? I live with my husband and my 2-year-old. Her name is Pearl, and she is slowly becoming a huge Disney person because it is a strange miracle that I get to sometimes bring my child on work trips. This one, I did not bring her on. This was work. But a lot of times I get to share in the magic of Disney with her, which is really, really great.
I love it. So how does one become a theme park expert? Was that like something you majored in?
My whole life is an accident. It is so bizarre. 10-ish years ago, I was living in New York. I worked in the music industry for a while. I was freelancing. I was doing a lot of lifestyle stuff, like a lot of like essays for kind of like female focused websites. And I was engaged and I was getting married, and I couldn't figure out where to do my bachelorette party. It was February. I don't drink that much. Like I can have one drink and have a good time. I cannot drag 11 people to Mexico. Like it's just, we're not going to Vegas. It's not happening. So my husband, or fiance at the time, said, why don't you just go to Disney World? And I was like, okay, like I like walking around. I like doing silly things. Why not? Keep in mind, hadn't been since I was a child, hadn't seen most of the movies, never thought about Disney in my day-to-day life. So I drag all of my loved ones there. And it's so funny because we all, like, 3 of us walked away obsessed with it. 3 of us walked away being like, I never need to come in here ever again. And then everyone else was kind of meh about it. But a few of us came back fully brainwashed. Like we were like, this is the best place in the world. Like I need to know more. I need to know everything about it. And my journalist brain was like, I gotta learn. So I essentially just treated it like a subject I was researching and reporting on. And I started writing stories, and I wrote more and I wrote more. And eventually a few years down the line, I realized like, oh, this is what I do now. So I just kind of stepped into it and owned it as a theme park focused journalist, a journalist whose beat is really theme parks and theme destinations. And now it has expanded to Disney Cruise Line and, of course, like Universal parks and experiences and kind of travel a little in general. But it is a complete happy accident. And if I I don't know if I went on my bachelorette party to San Francisco, I truly don't know what I'd be doing with my life.
Oh my gosh, that is so funny. I assumed that you would have been like a Disney kid, gone every year your whole life, which now your child's going to be, but
yeah. My
that's
protege.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
love it. I also love Disney World. So we're in Nashville, Tennessee. I did go to Disney World a handful of times growing up, and then we've taken our kids. We're not like Disney obsessed and Disney adults by any means, but every time we're there, we are like, how do they do this so well? I want to like study it. It's not even just the magic and the theming, which is all amazing. It's like all of it together. I still remember the first time we took our oldest. The first time we took our oldest as like our little family of 3. I noticed every time we sat at a dining sit down, they would take her knife away when they came over. And I was like, they're just doing things to make your life easier. Like I never opened a door because all the doors were automatic, and then the monorail. And I was like, this is built for families, and the logistics of it is like mind blowing. It's the best.
It's wild because also like you can be interested in Disney from a architectural perspective, from just transportation, how they move people around city infrastructure way. It is art. It is basically, I mean, I could go off on this, but I'm not going to. A lot of the park parallels live theater, and a lot of what they've done in designing it is supposed to, with forced perspective and with like set design, is supposed to make you feel like you're somewhere that you actually aren't. And I just like, the longer and longer I do this, the more I realize how much care goes into these places, and how I really like spending time in a place where people have thought through the details for me. They lower the curbs so that I don't trip. Like, it's just nice to be in a environment where they care enough to make sure that we have a nice time.
Yes, my dad's cousin, so tangent, she works as an interior designer for Universal in Orlando.
Oh, cool.
And so she was like a big part of like interior designing parts of rides and things for like Epic Universe. And it's like, she's trained as an interior designer, and her whole job is to create these magical places. And I'm like, that is so cool. Like, it's just all so fun. But anyways, back to Disney cruises. How many Disney cruises have you been on? Do you even know?
I do. I was just looking at my Castaway Club yesterday, which is like the back end where you reach different status if you hit 10. I thought I was at 10. I'm not at 10. I believe I am at 8. Sometimes it's like the ones I go on for work, the media ones, if they're a preview cruise, they don't always count. So I think I believe I'm at 8 right now.
Okay. And so for people listening, there are different tiers of Disney cruises. There's the oldies but the goodies that have been around for a while that like we could have gone on as kids. I never went on one as a kid, but I know a lot of friends who did. And then there's like the newer, so the older ones are, what are those two?
Those are the Magic and the Wonder. They are, the Magic is 26 years old, I believe. The Wonder is 25 years old, but they sure look new. They look great.
Yeah, people still love them. And then the ones that were considered newer for a while were the Fantasy and the Dream.
Yes, correct.
Okay. And then the new fleet that's been coming out is the Wish, the Treasure, and soon the Destiny in November. And I've been on the Wish, which was exciting. That was my first experience with the Disney cruise. So what different ships have you been on?
I have been on everything.
All of them. All the ships.
I've kind of been on everything. Listen, it comes with the territory. So I haven't been on the Destiny yet because it launches in November, but I did go to this very cool work event that they did where they tried to recreate the Destiny kind of like aboard the Disney Wish, and in a space at Disney World, they like built out what will be the Cruella de Vil bar in terms of like entertainment and theming and live music, like, and they did that same for the Lion King inspired restaurant. So like, I feel like I had like one foot aboard the Disney Destiny, but I have been lucky enough to spend time on all of the ships. I literally just got off the Disney Wonder a week ago. So it is very much a part of my life.
I love how extra Disney is. I'm like, they like built the bar again. Like they're building it in the ship and then they just recreated it on land.
It was genius because a lot of times, like I think just in terms of reporting, it's really hard to discuss a place that doesn't exist yet, like a place you haven't seen. And that's something you often have to do with theme parks and cruises.
Right. And also, I guess it's like ready for booking at some point before people have seen it because it's a cruise ship. So it's I watched the Disney Wish documentary on Disney Plus, which was so good. If anybody is wondering about Disney cruises, or if you'd like it, those documentaries on Disney Plus just give you such a behind the scenes look. It is super fun. and talk about the detail that goes into it and the team that has to like rally together to get it moved from like Germany all the way down to wherever it's launching from. But so in that case, like people haven't actually been on board, like reporters, to say, hey, look how awesome this is before people can start booking their rooms.
Exactly. We sometimes there's little preview things, but usually we don't see anything until we are boarding the ship for its first media sailing.
Yeah.
And with this, it was cool because you hear a Cruella de Vil bar, you're like, so it's black and white. Like you just don't really know what it's going to be. And we were able to like see her in the space and really kind of get a taste of what the Destiny will be, which is really cool because the Wish class ships, there are 3 of them, as you mentioned. This is the first time Disney so far has had 3 of the same type of ship. Before it's been 2 and 2. So having a new one and having these 3 different themes on the same kind of vessel is very new and very cool. And I think the way they're going about it is awesome.
Yeah, and this is a whole another podcast episode, but I was just listening to one of your episodes on your podcast, and you had mentioned that Disney's like doubling down and going to release even more cruise ships over the next like 5 years.
Yeah, there's a ton coming. There's not really very many details. The only other one is the Disney Adventure, which launches in December, and that is out of Singapore. So it's a little further away, a little different, a different style ship. It's not like these 3. We're still like getting more and more details every day, which is very exciting. But there's even more coming beyond that. So
That's exciting.
Yeah, and it just proves like cruising is really becoming huge. It's really, and it's something that's been around forever, but Disney is growing their fleet so much because there's so much demand. And it's just exciting to see what's next for the company.
Well, what I love about Disney Cruises when I was doing my research is that it's so family friendly in the sense that they don't have that casino floor. And that was, I liked seeing that because I don't care about gambling. I don't care about casinos. And it's kind of, I don't know, it's always like a little depressing sometimes, like at those big resorts and on cruise ships to see people like gambling at 6 a.m. And so on top of that, in my research, I found out that it has some of the best food in all of cruise lines. Then, of course, you've got all the fun entertainment. So I had done tons of research. I was so ready. I like bought all the things. I had the magnets. I had like the hooks. I had literally everything that you could have. We were going to like pixie dust or whatever it's called. Fish extender.
Yeah.
So I was like prepared. And regular listeners of Trip Tales know that it's a slightly polarizing topic on this podcast because we were on the Disney Wish sailing in October 2024 that left during Hurricane Milton and then got stuck at sea for 2 additional nights because Port Canaveral closed due to the hurricane, which some on board were thrilled. They were like 2 extra nights at no cost on a Disney cruise, like jackpot. But my oldest daughter, who was 12 at the time, was fighting a truly horrific, nightmarish stomach bug. Like this was not seasickness. This was, as bad as it gets. We were all 5 of us in one small cabin. And I was totally anxious the whole time that everybody else was going to get this stomach bug. So, stomach bug is just the worst of the worst. And then the ocean was so intense because the waves, like we were like falling, walking down the hallways and people would be like, I promise I haven't been drinking. Like it was kind of a joke on board, but it was really, really rocky to the point where I started feeling motion sickness. I've never had motion sickness in my life. I'm like popping Dramamine and boning. And then when they were like, we're not going back, Port Canaveral's closed, I was like, I'm going to have to jump ship. It was like day 5 and 6. Luckily, the captain was amazing. And of course, Disney was amazing with the whole thing. And the staff didn't miss a beat. They were so lighthearted. I was like, has this ever happened before? They're like, oh yeah, this happens all the time. Calm down. But so then by the end, I'm like exploring, the rainforest room. And we tried to get a reservation at Palo because we were just like bored. But my husband didn't pack pants. And then they were like, you can wear someone else's pants. And he was like, I don't know if I'm going to wear someone else's pants. By day 5 and 6, we were quite literally doing figure 8s just through the Bahamas. So that's another thing I think I've learned maybe for myself. Okay, 1, don't go during hurricane season. 2, like I love cool destinations and I feel like I might be someone who needs to be porting cool places and not just kind of twirling around the Bahamas. If you know how you can map a cruise on like the little computer thing, I pulled it up and we were just like like just in the Bahamas area. Like I could see land, but we were just like rocking and rolling in the sea. So anyways, I'd love to use part of this podcast for you to potentially give me some tips for doing Disney Cruise better if we try it again. Because the funny thing is last week I did a podcast episode where my kids joined the pod. And
Cute.
lo and behold, despite all the rocking and rolling and the stomach bugs, the Disney cruise was one of their favorite, most memorable trips. So I'm like, man, we might need to do this again.
I think you had a unique experience that most people don't often have happened to them. And it's something that happens on land too. Like sometimes you go to Walt Disney World and it's like you're sitting in the hotel for 2 days and it happens. I don't want to act like it doesn't happen, but I'm very glad to hear that they made the experience on board as good as it could have been.
Yes.
And I wouldn't let that deter you from ever doing it again, which is hard to say from the outside because I've experienced rougher seas, but obviously not anything like that, like itinerary changing. But I would give it another shot. Also, because like cruising's not going away, and if your kids loved it, you're going to be pulled back.
And it's a fun way to go see a lot of different islands. I just think maybe we did get off in Nassau. That was fine. We went over to Atlantis. But I feel like we kind of like have been there, done that. So I'm like, we need some more adventure in our destinations, which this is a perfect episode to be talking about that because the Treasure, I didn't even know this until my research, but it's more of a 7-day ship. So whereas the ship I was on is more of a 3 to 4 night or day cruise, you're probably going to go to Castaway, Lookout, and maybe Nassau. This is going to the Eastern and Western Caribbean, which is kind of exciting.
Yeah, they have all different sorts of destinations, and I just pulled up the itineraries just to give you a feel. They do Eastern Western Caribbean 7-night, so we're talking ports like St. Thomas, Virgin Islands, Cozumel, Mexico. You're stopping in Grand Cayman and Jamaica. You're going to Disney Castaway Cay, which is their island. Just a bunch of different stuff is available on those itineraries. And of course, there are at sea days, which your experience is separate from that, and people really do love.
Yes, I know. It was just, as one of my friends said, it's almost like everything that could have gone wrong did on your trip. So that's really going to like change your perspective on things. Okay.
Yeah, and like if you were in a hotel room on land, it would be just as like, yeah, it's weather, illness. Those are the two things you're scared of happen at the same time.
Yeah.
Founded in 1964, Fremont Bank understands the difference 60 years can make. It's the difference between serving a family business and being dedicated to a family business as a family business. The difference between looking at spreadsheets and looking at possibilities. The difference between deposits that go into a vault and deposits that go back into your community. So what difference does 60 years make? All the difference in the world. Fremont Bank. Here for you. Here for good.
Okay. So when did you go on the Disney Treasure and who did you go with?
I went in December of 2024, which sounds so recent. I've been on a lot of more cruises in my whole life in the last 8 months of my whole life. So I went in December. It was for the first debut media sailing, and I brought my mom along with me.
That's so fun. And so then you flew from LA to Orlando, and did you stay somewhere before you boarded the cruise?
Yeah, I flew from LA. My mom flew from Chicago, and we flew in the night before. I just really, especially for not like a high pressure trip like this, but this is the type of thing where if you can't miss it. You gotta be
they're
there.
gonna leave.
Yeah. And I had an airline based a big drama going to my previous sailing, which was a few months before that. My airplane turned around halfway through, which is never what you want the day before a cruise when you're like, I gotta be there. So I'm flying in early. I'm paying for the hotel room. I just want to be safe. I want to be good. So we got there early. And then that way we had a night at Walt Disney World. So we went out to Disney Springs. We went out to dinner at Summer House on the Lake, which is a great
fun.
restaurant. And then the next day we had to do some check-in stuff before we went on the cruise, but we had the whole day to go to the parks. So it was really nice to be able to have a full Disney World day before we went to our sailing out of Port Canaveral. And that's something a lot of people who go on Disney Cruise Line also love to do because you can combine these two different Disney vacations off of one flight.
Yeah. So where did you stay?
We stayed at Disney's Contemporary Resort. That is, I said that way too fast, Contemporary Resort. And we stayed kind of in the garden wing, which are the rooms in the back. So they're not in the A-frame. They're kind of like a standard hotel room around the corner.
Okay. And then you went to Disney Springs, had a fun dinner. And then for Disney World, did you just hit up one park? Did you try to hit up multiple parks? What did you do with your Disney World time?
when I went back through it, I'm like, oh, we did a lot, which is how my mom and I are. We do as much as we can in a day. We walk very fast. We get a lot done. She's gonna be listening to this. Hi, Mom. I'm like turning into her, which is just like a woman walking real fast in a public place. And so we did some check-in stuff for the cruise, which was set up at the hotel because it was a work event. And then we hopped on the monorail, which was right in our hotel. We went to Epcot for a while. We had lunch in the Japan Pavilion at a sushi place that I love, which was great.
Yes,
And
the
then,
new fancy one?
yeah, Shiki-Sai.
Yeah, I haven't been there yet, but I've seen lots of stuff about it.
It's great views, very big menu, a lot of stuff for like everything from like picky kids to adults who want a legitimate sushi meal, or opposite, picky adults and children who want a sushi meal, because those all exist. And then I actually dipped out of the parks to go back to a hotel to say hi to a friend who was in town. And then from there, we went back to the hotel to change. It was cold. It was like one of those blissful cold trips. I was wearing a turtleneck. I had to go get my leather jacket.
Yeah, it's kind of nice to not be sweating in Disney World.
So nice. I love whenever I land on one of those cold trips. And then we walked over to Magic Kingdom, which you can do from that hotel. I think we did like fireworks, a couple rides, did a few things. And then I completely forgot about this. Then we went to Disney's Hollywood Studios.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
This is like one of those, I feel like YouTubers do those like hit up 4 parks in one day. You guys just like casually did it walking quickly.
Yeah, casually did 3 without even thinking. And I really just wanted to like say goodbye to the Muppet courtyard, the Muppet themed area, because at the time of recording this, it is now gone. It is closed, but I was saying all of my goodbyes for many months leading up to it. So I wanted to take my mom to see it one last time.
Okay, awesome. You guys fit in a lot. That's amazing. So then you head to the Disney Treasure. And before we talk about boarding and seeing the Disney Treasure for the first time, tell everybody how it differs from the Wish. Because we've had a lot of episodes about the Wish. A lot of my listeners have at least researched it or been on it. But how is the Treasure's theming different from the Wish?
So each of the 3 Wish class ships, the new ones, they all have a different identity. And the way I usually boil it down is that the Wish is more like regal, kind of like, I think of like Cinderella, princess, gilded, like nice, quaint luxury vibes, and like the color palette and the scheme. And then the Treasure is all about adventure. So you have different characters that are featured in the lobby and through on the headboards in the rooms and in the carpeting. And like this one had gorgeous theming that was like jewel toned and tied to Aladdin. They had like truly, I have so many photos of the carpets. I've never taken so many photos of carpets. Like the carpets were beautiful. They were artwork. My stateroom ended up being Encanto themed. I was randomly assigned one because I didn't book it myself. And so just walking in and having like all of these properties that you don't always see front and center with Disney made this ship really special, in my opinion.
Awesome. Yeah, very adventure themed. And I think so. There's Aladdin, Encanto, Moana. I'm trying to think if there's any other kind of like theming and characters that kind of enter into this ship.
On this class of ship, there is one I kind of call it like a dinner theater restaurant. It's like a theater in the round. In the middle, there's a stage and you dine around, and the whole space and all the entertainment is themed to one of the properties. On the Wish, it's Frozen. On this ship, it's Coco. So Plaza de Coco is just one of the best Disney restaurants I've ever been to. I love it so much. And having that like physical Coco presence at a time where we will have a Coco ride in the future at Disney California Adventure. We do not have it yet. So having like this solid Coco presence on board was so exciting to be able to finally experience that in this real way.
Cool. So you show up at Port Canaveral. What was it like boarding the Disney Treasure for the first time, and what did the Grand Hall look like?
It's interesting because everything's a little different when it's not a vacation, because it's work. All of us are like, got to get the shot. We got to get the photo.
Like everyone's holding a GoPro and a phone, and
everyone's like filming, talking into their phone. It's a very safe environment for someone who does that professionally. But walking in, it's weird because like usually when you're on a Disney cruise for fun, you walk in and they announce your name and you're like, oh, we're here. We made it.
Right.
And the most overwhelming moment of my year is usually walking on a new Disney cruise ship, because I'm like, everything's new. Like, where do I go? Where do I go? I have to go this. I have to photograph this. Like, I get so overwhelmed because everything is exciting, and I feel like I want to show everyone the second I see it. And it just work-wise, it's intense. But my feeling walking into the atrium was, oh my God, it's beautiful. Like, I didn't really know what to expect. expect. I knew it would feel different than the Wish. I ended up actually preferring this atrium, even though the Wish is lovely. I was in that atrium recently and I was like, this is absolutely stunning. You're going to have to drag me off the ship, which I kind of had to do because I didn't want to leave. But the atrium on this one is just so beautiful and so ornate. And it has these Moroccan influences. And it's a very, very beautiful place to be. I really love what they did with the atrium on these three ships. And I'm assuming Destiny will be similarly lovely. But it's just it's a really like beautiful interior. Like there's so much feedback. There's so much to look at. There's so much to see. And it feels like art. It's really, really lovely.
I was looking at photos before this and I felt like it looked like moody. Like the Wish is like kind of light and white and bright and beautiful and ornate. And this felt like more moody, like navies and tans and golds. And then there was all this tile work. Like, what's Jasmine's tiger's name? Oh, what's his name? Raja.
Okay.
Raja was there with like all this tile work and it was so beautiful. So definitely like those Moroccan Middle Eastern themes I could see and kind of felt like more culturally diverse than the Wish at this point.
The blues were really like the jewel tone colors.
Yes, jewel tone's a good word
I didn't really expect because we'd seen the Wish and we thought it would be. I thought it before I went on. I was like, maybe it'll feel just like Wish with a different color palette, and it feels completely different.
That's what I was wondering, if it would just kind of feel like, oh, I've been here, I've done this. It's just a different color wallpaper or paint, but it feels like a completely different space.
Yeah, and it really sets the tone because they have this 3-story atrium that's so much bigger than the other cruise ships. It really like sets the tone for what you're about to see when you walk in any direction to see a new area of the ship. It really sets the tone for the adventure ahead.
So you guys are all clamoring to capture the content. Everybody's like, where do I look? Where do I film? What do I do? Typically, when you board a Disney cruise, your rooms aren't ready because they are busy cleaning them from the people that just got off. But I'm curious, were your rooms just ready to go because nobody had been on it before?
I don't believe they were, and I honestly wouldn't know because all we cared about was the Haunted Mansion parlor. Like, this was the first Haunted Mansion inspired bar at sea. This was a huge deal for us. A lot of people who cover Disney Cruise Line who do what I do are also covering the theme parks. And so we were like, we got to see it. We got to get in there.
So everybody's racing to Haunted Mansion bar.
Yeah, and we actually worked out like the way they set up this, I mean, the master itinerary, I feel like would blow my mind, but they set up things so that like on your cruise, you get time wherever you need it. You have time. They set you up with interviews. You can interview anyone you need to talk to. You can talk to Imagineers. You can talk to like literally anyone. They will take care of it. They make sure you can get your work done. They work so hard. And the Disney PR people are amazing. They really come through. But I think we were all just like, we gotta get in there. And so I was just like wandering around that. And then also next to that is this kind of open lounge called Skipper Society, which is Jungle Cruise inspired. And the Disney Treasure has 3 bar lounges that are inspired by Disney parks. It's the first time that has ever happened on a Disney cruise ship. And so we were all just like eating it up with a spoon. We were so excited to experience all of it. So in my phone, it's a lot of like atrium photos, Skipper Society photos, and then just Haunted Mansion for days. Just soaking up
let's
every
stay on
detail.
Bars and lounges then for a minute, because I was listening to your podcast episode about this and you had said, which you just mentioned, and I thought this was such an interesting insight, is that so many of the other bars and lounges are themed after movies and Disney IP and all that kind of stuff. But this is the first ship to kind of bring the theme parks into the Disney Cruise Line, which is so exciting, especially for people. I mean, Haunted Mansion is so nostalgic. I went on it as a child with my parents and my little siblings, and now I'm taking my kids on it. It is such an iconic ride, and now it's brought into the cruise ship. So talk about entering that bar. You were very excited in your podcast episode. You said you had a visceral reaction and you were like, what is happening? So just kind of tell people what it's like to even experience this bar and lounge.
So again, you have to remember, my first time walking in, I hadn't seen YouTube walkthroughs. Like, they didn't exist. I didn't see anything on social media. Like, I went in knowing the renderings, knowing what they said would be there, but not actually knowing what it would feel like to be in that space. And you walk in and it is everything you want it to be and more. Because when they say Haunted Mansion bar, you're like, they could just throw up the wallpaper and be like, there's some bats and it's Haunted Mansion. They went, so this is its own attraction. Like, they went so deep in the decor of this that we were all sitting there like, first of all, you're going to have to forcibly remove me from this space. It's amazing. But there's so many show elements at play. The music is unbelievable. There's special effects moments that happen, the artwork, the layers of storytelling inside this bar. It's just a place where you can like get a little like juice or non-alcoholic drink or like a beverage. Like it's just a bar. And like they went above and beyond in truly theming out a place that feels attraction theme park worthy. It is unreal. There's so much to look at. We just kept looking at everything. We couldn't leave. There was so much.
I'm assuming the photos kind of like change like they do in the, attraction. And then also have you been to the bar at the Polynesian in Walt Disney World? Sam's?
Trader Sam's.
Trader Sam's. So that bar has like kind of cool windows and stuff that like change with like the thunderstorms and that sort of thing. So I'm like feeling like the pictures might kind of look like that a little bit.
I'd say if I had to equate it, it's that this feels like a Haunted Mansion Trader Sam's, but dialed up even more. Like There's even more references, more to see because it's tied to something a lot of us have so much nostalgia for and reverence for. Like it really... we just like walked up again, like we're journalists, like we have serious questions to ask. And we were just walking up to them being like, you did it. You nailed it.
Yeah.
Like,
no questions.
You nailed it, which does not happen all the time. Let me tell you. But here really it was spectacular.
Are there ghosts? Because one of my favorite parts of the ride is the when the ghosts are all like dancing in the ballroom and they're like spinning around.
I'd say there's a lot that emotionally will make you feel the same without having the exact same moments.
Okay. Got it. And then the other lounge that everybody was excited about, Skipper's, what's it called?
Skipper Society. So the Periscope Pub and the Haunted Mansion Parlor are more of like the bars that are themed to Disney Parks attractions. And then Skipper Society is more of an open pass-through lounge that is
like
themed
Tiana's
to the
Bayou.
It's the exact same space.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is, and I really love that they chose it that way because Jungle Cruise is just such a family-friendly mood and it's so adventurous and it really lends itself to that lounge space very well. They kind of have these, I guess I'll call them like canopy tarps overhead that make you feel a little like you're on one of the boats. The artwork really is reminiscent of Skipper Canteen, if you've ever been there at Magic Kingdom. It just kind of ties all of the Jungle Cruise ties from all the parks together. And it's just like a nice place to sit, whether you're with children or you're just with adults. Like I love that it's open and you can just walk through and enjoy it without physically entering a space.
The last bar, the Periscope, what's that one modeled after?
That one's 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea.
Okay, cute.
And it really pairs itself well to like, Disney Cruise usually has like a pub type bar. And I think that really lends itself to this space really well.
Perfect.
Founded in 1964, Fremont Bank understands the difference 60 years can make. It's the difference between serving a family business and being dedicated to a family business as a family business. The difference between looking at spreadsheets and looking at possibilities. The difference between deposits that go into a vault and deposits that go back into your community. So what difference does 60 years make? All the difference in the world. Fremont Bank. Here for you. Here for good.
All right, let's talk about your room. What was your room themed like? And I'm assuming it is pretty much laid out and looks just like the Wish, but just with different theming.
Pretty similar. Interiors are different. I do feel like my room was slightly different than when I sailed on the Wish. The Wish was a few years ago at this point, so the details are a little hazy, but I do remember it might have been a different room type because I remember opening a cabinet and being like, I haven't seen this before. It was like a full-blown like boom, like armoire style cabinet.
Yeah, tons of storage.
Yeah, endless storage. And like just to set the scene, I just got off the Disney Wonder, an older ship. And I was in a room for 7 nights. I went on an Alaska sailing. I had puffy coats. I had boots. I had all this stuff. Everything had room. I brought hooks. I didn't need them. Like these ships, you wouldn't think, you look and you're like, there's only a few shelves. It's not going to work. Everything fits. And this one, our preview cruise was only, actually, I have to tell my head, maybe 2 or 3 nights. 3 nights.
So you're trying to pack a lot in pretty quick.
Yeah. So ours, like, we didn't fill the room because we didn't have as much.
Yeah.
But it was Encanto themed, and like the headboard artwork on these ships and the ones coming to the Destiny actually is one of the things I'm most excited about. The artwork just gets better and better and better, and the interiors get like nicer and more refined over time. And it just like they just keep improving on the experience as they go forward. And I didn't know what room I'd have, and I showed up and was like, oh, Encanto! Like having casita under my head as I slept was really cool.
Yes, that's awesome. I loved the artwork on the Wish. I thought it was so pretty. So this sounds like it's even taking it up a notch. Let's talk about the restaurants. So on this type of sailing where you're there for work, are you still assigned like a restaurant a night and are there two seating times, or is it just everyone kind of comes when they want to come?
It's pretty standard because it's I would say the big difference on a media sailing like this is that usually, like, you'll walk in a lounge and it's just, there's an activity booked or it's empty. This is like you'll walk in, you'll be like, there's cords because someone's doing like a radio live stream or like there's people film. Like there's just a lot of media infrastructure happening. So that's kind of the weirdest thing is that you'll have to like sometimes I think the Star Wars bar on the Wish when we did that preview, you walked in and it was like, oh, you got to make sure you have like the floodlights and like the cameras out of your shot because it's set up for TV. The seating was pretty similar, but I somehow jammed in 5 dinners. Or no, I did Enchanté for lunch. I did 5 restaurants over the course of the cruise.
Amazing. That's
so
speaking my language. I love nice food.
Yeah, I did all 3 regular restaurants, which is Plaza de Coco. Oh, I love Worlds of Marvel in 1923. Worlds of Marvel in 1923 are on all the Wish class ships, so I'd been before.
Yep.
And then I also went to dinner at Palo. Here it's Palo Steakhouse. It's the adults only surcharge restaurant. You pay extra to go there. And I did a lunch at Enchanté, which is the extremely elegant fine dining restaurant also available on board. So I did all of that. My favorite was of those standard restaurants, Plaza de Coco. I think that choosing that property and that IP in that space just blends perfectly. Also, like, even when there's no entertainment on stage, the way that they dressed that room, the way that they set it up, it's gorgeous. It feels like you're in a town square. It's amazing. 1923, Worlds of Marvel. Honestly, Worlds of Marvel has lost a little of its luster for me. I went and it was a different show this time than we'd seen last time, and I didn't love it. It was more of a trivia game, and it just felt very much like, okay, this is what you do on a seven night.
Yeah.
Like, I guess the later one, there's other restaurants like Animator's Palette on some of the ships. The second night entertainment is better. Like there's something that you look forward to experiencing. That's one of my big critiques with Worlds of Marvel. But otherwise, 1923, elegant, great, just like a classy little restaurant. A lot of artwork references, a lot of like really great things to look at on the shelves, and just it feels like a Disney museum in a restaurant. So
yes,
I
1923 was my favorite restaurant by far on the Wish, and it took me a couple days, and luckily I had lots of days to figure out that, oh, I can go here for breakfast or for lunch if it's open in the rotation.
Mm-hmm.
And oh my gosh, sitting down, it was one of the last days at sea, and we had gone back to Castaway because the captain, thank God, was like, let's go somewhere. And I was so thankful that he figured that out and got us to port somewhere else. But I was like, we're not rushing off this boat. My husband is a big runner and he went and did the 5K on his own. We kind of like needed some separation time from everybody. So he went and had a lovely run by himself on Castaway. And I took the kids to 1923 and I was like, oh my gosh, this is where it's at. It was calm. We ordered from a menu. The servers were so nice. Talk about, you could sit at any different spot in that restaurant and see like 100 things from Disney World, old art, old memorabilia. That like spoke my language. I loved 1923. I loved the nice steak there. I just loved everything about it. I agree with you on Marvel. It was fine. Food was fine. Kind of chaotic. We were sitting. I hope they don't listen to this. I don't think they've like found me, but
They will. Just prepare. It's okay.
The people we sat with, it was just like it just didn't jive. So then you're like with them a lot for 6 days as the cruise is out to sea. But anyways, that's not what I'm trying to talk about. Marvel was just like chaotic and loud, but my son loved it. And Spider-Man came out. And so it's like, part of this is about them too. And he loved it. But I did kind of get weirded out. I'm not a germaphobe. COVID's kind of in the past. But I did find it odd that we're like all touching the same thing all the meal and like slamming the buttons and then like eating and then slamming the buttons. I was a little like, I don't love that part.
Listen, my main complaint about this class of ship, and every time I walk on it, my mouth hurts from smiling. Like anytime I'm on one of these new ships, I'm just blown away. I do this job because I love Disney Cruise Line. I think they have the best product out there, and that's why I'm obsessed with them. However, the restaurant seating on this class of ship is too tight. It is too close together. I don't know why. I don't know why it was designed like that. But I've dined at Worlds of Marvel 2 to 3 times at this point. I guess the math would be 2 times. And one time I was sat at a table where it was like my mom and I, we were separate and it was great. This last time, the way that the seating worked out, we were like in between 2 different parties. And I was just like, I felt like I was dining at a cafeteria table with a bunch of people.
Yeah.
And that's not really what you want to feel like when this ship is so elegant and so like luxurious and so nice and beautiful and refined. Like specifically that restaurant felt off seating wise to me. And it's something I keep thinking about where like I love the first show where you get to see a character and there's like a lot happening, but like the something about that restaurant is really just in the con column for me. But yeah. I'm willing to listen. I'm willing to power through to get to Plaza de Coco.
Yeah. So let's talk about Plaza de Coco a little bit because that is the newest, most unique restaurant on this ship. It's in the same space as Arendelle, which that is such a sweet and adorable restaurant with all the storytelling and the show on the Wish. The menu is so themed. It's so lovely. The characters are lovely. So Plaza de Coco is a theatrical dining experience inspired by Coco with Mexican cuisine and live music from Miguel and the family. I believe on your podcast episode, you explained that they almost storytell it like you are going to a Dia de los Muertos celebration. So tell us a little bit more about the entertainment and the type of food you get to order at Plaza de Coco.
So what I specifically love about this restaurant, and actually this space on all of the Wish class ships, like I mentioned on the Destiny, it will be Lion King inspired.
Oh, fun.
I love that, like, this is one of those moments where you walk in the restaurant and it's just so clear that this is only Disney could do this. Only Disney could take one of their like famous, incredible properties, build a physical space that makes you feel like you are inside of it, and also have the characters and live entertainment and the music and the cuisine to match. It's just perfect. Like it's truly indicative of why I think Disney Cruise Line is so special. I loved it because the food was great. The food was fantastic. We ordered so much. I actually, at that meal, I sat with my friend Shay, who's like he used to be a food editor at People. He's now like a food TikToker. He's a chef. Like he knows food. And we were both just thriving. Like we had the best time eating here. And I feel like if Shay likes it, that's a gold star. Like that means it's really good. And just being able to like take in the music from the film. This is such an emotional film. Like we're talking about literally life and death and family within it. And them touching on those themes at a family restaurant on a Disney cruise ship is so many layers of execution, and they pulled it off. And just like they even have like there's this quick moment that happens in the show where they kind of just have like a moment to think about people who have passed, and like they made that work at a Disney restaurant. Like it's just just the theatrics of it all. They really did something special, and I think that restaurant is so unique. And I mean, you got to go on the ship to see it.
I mean, that might get me back on a Disney cruise because I love Mexican food. Love the movie. This sounds like a can't miss kind of.
They did such a good job. They did such a good job bringing this property to life on a cruise ship. Like you're on a cruise ship. It's just crazy. There's like a mariachi band and like the character from the film you love is there. And you're eating like literally like plate after plate of incredible food. It's just, I just think they really pulled it off. They really did a great job.
Amazing. Okay. The 3 shows on the Disney Treasure are Seize the Adventure, which we've seen on a lot of different ships, Beauty and the Beast, which has been done before, and then the new one is Moana. So
yes.
Since we've heard about the others before, tell us, did you get to see the Moana show?
I did get to see the Moana show. I'm not going to listen. We know the story of Moana. I don't want to listen to the end. You know, like we can spoil it. We can spoil it. We all know what happens in Moana. It's been on forever and it's amazing. We've all seen it. They have this puppet of Tafiti at the end that will blow your brain. Like it is crazy. It is crazy. Like it when it was on stage, we all gasped. I cannot believe they are accomplishing just the scale of things in this show at sea. And I've had the opportunity to talk to the entertainment team, and like these people are so talented. And I keep saying that, but the work that people put into this cruise ship to make it truly the most Disney it could be is phenomenal to me. And they really care. And to take this musical that we all love and bring it to stage and not just make it a little staged rendition. We're like, Moana singing, like, oh, we're on a boat. Like, no, the puppet at the end is gigantic. I had the privilege of standing near it. And I was like, it's like terror. It's like a skyscraper. I don't know how it fits on the boat. I don't understand. I don't want to know. It's magic. And it was wonderful. But I saw the Beauty and the Beast show, which I had not seen before. This is my first time I saw it. And my mom and I were losing our minds. It was amazing.
I haven't seen it either. And I loved going to the shows. I would take like a different kid who wasn't sick and, get the popcorn. And it was just so fun and just feels so special. And I loved like a Broadway show. So it was super fun.
Then Beauty and the Beast was like really cool because we sat in the balcony, we sat up. And so people just kept dropping into holes. They just kept like falling out of place. We're like, we're at sea. The ship is moving and you're just bopping around. Like it blew us away. It was so good. And then Seas the Adventure, listen, I feel like my soul ascended out of my body the first time I saw it. I love Goofy. Goofy's a huge part of it.
I didn't get to see it. I haven't seen it. So
I love it. I saw it I happened to see that on the Wish with theater people. There were a few people from the show High School Musical, the series. And so we all watched it together and like, it was like a row of theater dorks just being like, this is amazing.
Oh my gosh.
It will forever like live on in my memory as a peak Disney theater experience.
So fun. Okay. You guys ported at Castaway and did you get off and did you have a fun Castaway day?
I did. And I was full of regret because on the Wish I don't even think I got off the ship at Castaway. I didn't get off at all. Like I was working. It was the first time that ship had come out. I had so much work to do. I was like writing a zillion stories. I was very focused. This time my goal was to like have a little taste of vacation. Just a little bit. And I got a lot of stuff done. My mom and I were able to walk off the ship. We met up with friends. We went to the adult-only beach. We had the most blissful time floating around in the water. It was like that was the core vacation memory of that trip. And I'm so glad we solidified it because on these like bonkers work trips, if you don't, it'll disappear. And you'll just be like on your phone posting, doing work, editing, writing, and you'll miss it. But I'm really glad that I carved that time out because it was lovely.
Okay, so same but different. I mean, I'm always kind of capturing content and working, but this wasn't like a media sailing by any means. But, I had an extremely sick child, so we didn't get off at Castaway the first time we docked there. And our popcorn buckets turned into throw up buckets, and she's literally on the balcony, and we can see it, and we're like waving. Luckily, my husband and the other two kids got off and had a great day at Castaway, but we just saw it in the distance. But she was kind of like quarantined, like we couldn't get off.
Oh my God.
And so luckily, when we went back, I did the same thing. I said, you know what? I'm going to that adult only area. And so my husband hung with the kids in the main area and I went over to the adults only area. It was so lovely. It was so quiet.
Yep.
There were just adults floating around in the crystal clear water.
Yep.
You could go get your little drink if you wanted to. I brought a book. I read a book. I have some pictures, just like crystal clear water, book, drink, silence.
Mm-hmm. It was really,
lovely.
it's really nice. And it's nice to like physically be away and be like, this is my bliss.
Yes.
Also, if you don't travel with Zofran, do you know what Zofran is?
Oh yeah, baby. Yeah. I had it. It didn't touch this stomach bug, but when I run out of that, because I had it like when I was pregnant and then I like save it. Now when I run out, I like have to find a way to get a new prescription because
if you talk to your doctor, again, I travel a lot and I'm prone to bad luck sometimes. So especially when I go on a cruise, because I know I'm away, I bring a whole thing of medicine, including like I'll have my doctor fill prescriptions specifically for that trip. I promise them I won't take them unless I talk to them first. But like just to have it on a cruise, I always find to be very beneficial.
So smart. Yeah. I will be bringing that on my next upcoming. I've got like some Mexico trips coming up and I was like doing some research on the different things people like for like if you have food issues. So I'm like going to be packing all the things, including Zofran.
Yeah.
For full details, including terms and conditions, visit unlock.com/legal. Call 1-888-780-6854 to speak with a representative today. Actor portrayal. Terms and conditions apply.
Lisa, thanks for having me over. Your new kitchen is gorgeous. How'd you find the money to do it?
We worked with this great company, Unlock. They help you unlock the future value of your home to get the cash you need today.
So it's a home equity loan?
No, it's not a loan at all. There's no monthly payments and no interest charges ever. And you can use the money however you want. We were able to redo our kitchen and pay off our credit card debt.
Wow, Jack and I could really use this to finally pay off our old student loan debt. How do I get started?
It's easy. Just give him a call or go to unlock.com.
Call 1-888-780-6854 to unlock the value in your home and get up to $500,000 in cash with no monthly payments and no interest ever. Use the money for home improvements, to pay off debt, or to add to your retirement fund. It's up to you. Visit unlock.com. That's unlock.com or call 1-888-780-6854 now to get started.
Okay, we kind of talked through the rotational restaurants, but we didn't touch on the adults only areas, Enchanté and Palo. Give people a taste of what is at those two restaurants and why we should consider splurging and maybe making a reservation there as opposed to just saying, you know what, this is already paid for and we're not spending any extra money.
I totally get it. I have the same school of thought, but These restaurants are so good. And like the prices are adjusted a bit. Like Palo is adjusted for the fact that you already paid to be here. But the food at Palo is exceptional. It's exceptional. It is an experience. And like going to Palo on sailings, if you go multiple times, it just feels like, it's like your happy place and we all sharing it together. They are known for their souffle. I get the kind of amaretto one. There's a chocolate one that everyone loves, but I'm not as much of a chocolate person. I love that. They have this side of macaroni and cheese. It's like baked in, it comes in like a boiling hot cauldron. It's amazing. I don't even eat that much steak, so I usually get kind of a fish or a pasta, but they also have this appetizer. Oh my God. It's like a calamari, it's fried calamari, and it's a fried prawn, and the prawn is the biggest prawn you've ever seen. It is the biggest shrimp. I've had it on like every ship. I've gone on 4 Disney cruises in the past 9 months or something. Every single time I'm like, I gotta get their prawn.
Like how big?
So
like how big?
Like I would say like eye to mouth. Like it's just so big. It's so big.
Okay.
And every time I'm like, my prawn. It's just fantastic. But what's special about this class of ship is that they have this restaurant Enchanté. And it is, oh, I'm going to say a French word and I'm scared. It is by this chef, Arnaud Lallemont. Arnaud Lallemont. Scared, still have that in the back of the brain. Think I pronounced it correctly. And he is just like a world-renowned chef who has a unbelievable restaurant in France. And he partnered with Disney to make this restaurant appear on these 3 ships. And it is truly like once-in-a-lifetime spectacular haute cuisine, fine dining that you would usually have to pay way more for. It is significantly pricey, but it's the type of thing where like it's one of those meals you'll remember for years and years and years. And I've been lucky enough to dine there twice, and both times it's like it's up there and surpasses similarly coursed menu restaurants that I've sought out around the world. It really is like you won't even think you're on a cruise ship. The view is beautiful from the restaurant. Everything
it's like floor to ceiling windows,
oh
right?
My God.
Yeah.
The service is impeccable. Like it is one of the best meals that you can get anywhere in the world. And it just happens to be on a Disney cruise ship. It's crazy. It's there. It's truly crazy. Like we all love Palo. We would have been happy with Palo. And then there's this place and you're like, this is a vacation of its own.
And in addition to it being a fabulous French restaurant, the Disney touches isn't there like kind of Lumiere and a little bit of Beauty and the Beast touches in a very, very classy way.
Yes, very minimal Beauty and the Beast inspiration. There's also both of these restaurants are connected at their entrance by way of this bar called The Rose, which is also very delicately Beauty and the Beast inspired. And it's really interesting because on this ship you have, a live stage show that couldn't be more Disney, more Beauty and the Beast. And then you come here and it's just a little touch and it's so elegant. Like on these cruises, The Rose is bumping. Like it is full. Everyone knows to go to The Rose to get a fancy drink at night, to see people. That's where I met all the people who do live entertainment.
Well, I should have been on your cruise because I loved the Rose too. Oh my gosh, it was my husband and I's happy place after these long days that just weren't going exactly how we had expected. Nobody was there. We had it to ourselves every night, which was kind of fun. But
that's nice.
Yeah, so we would get espresso martinis and it was gorgeous. And we would go up there at night because, we had our 3 kids and we were busy during the days. But I wish I would have gone up there before the sun had set because they also have the beautiful windows and the beautiful seating around the windows. And I'm like, I kind of want to see the ocean from these seats, but we loved going up there.
Yeah, and that's what's great about Palo and Enchanté is that you can see the water and see the sunset at both of those restaurants if you choose to have dinner there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have any must-have items you always pack on a Disney cruise?
Oh my God. I just did this list, but it's for Alaska. And I'm like, that doesn't apply. Like, you don't need your rain boots.
Right.
You're going on the ship. Something I'm going to shout out, and this is if you're traveling with a younger child. So there are kids clubs, which people talk about a lot. But if your child is under 3, they won't be at a kids club. They'll be at the It's a Small World nursery. And at the nursery, they don't serve them meals. They have some snacks. They have banana, they have yogurt, they have crackers. But if you want to bring any food for your kid, it has to be individually packaged and sealed. And I didn't really hear about that before I had a kid. So I always stress to people, bring so many individually packaged snacks. Because especially if let's say you're on the ship for 7 nights. And by the end, you're like, you know what? I need me some Palo. I need a break. Like if you don't have a little packaged granola bar or something that they like, they might get there and be like, I'm not eating a cracker. And then you're just kind of in trouble. So definitely bring an excess of that for your child.
That's a great point.
In terms
of
of
pouches, you could bring a lot of pouches. Those pouches that the babies
I bring individual granola bars, individual bags of puffs. Some brands, they have bags of puffs. You can also, the first time you use the can of puff, you can bring it in and then they give you the leftovers. Then afterwards you give it to them in their room. I always bring, I'm so Alaska focused at the moment. I'm so sorry. My eye mask was huge for Alaska because it was bright out during the day, but that doesn't apply as much.
The things that we loved and really were a game changer for us, especially having 5 in 1 room, was a hamper, like a pop-up hamper.
Oh.
So then all the clothes could go in there, dirty clothes, and then it wasn't kind of like a mess. And by the end, I was like, and now the dirty clothes go into a trash bag, into the luggage, and it just felt like it kept our stateroom clean. I really liked that. I did like the magnetic hooks. Sometimes they don't hold as much as you think they're going to hold, but they did like hold swimsuits and towels that were trying to dry, which was really nice.
Yeah. I never was a decorate the door person. And I started doing it we went on a Disney Wonder sailing out of San Diego for my daughter's birthday in March. And I made all of these custom magnets. I put so much work in. I was like, we're going on a cruise because I don't want to plan a birthday party. Cut to me cutting out custom magnets to put on the door. And I made all of these of like her face with like little photoshopped Mickey hats and party hats.
Cute.
But I put them on the door and it made finding a room so easy. And I know that's why everyone does this, but I'm like, oh, like I'm not a fish extender person. Like it's a lot of work. I am bad at planning ahead. It's not for me. But no, it made it so much fun to come back to our room. She calls it Pearl's house. So we're always like back at Pearl's house. It just added another layer to the trip that I would be missing out on. Oh, and then also, okay, a thing to pack. Pack Disney pins because I don't pin trade at the parks. I have a zillion. They're in a bag. They're in my closet. I never look at them. But there's this event that they do on sailing sometimes where it's like you trade pins with the cast members. And I've done it a few times and they line up and they have incredible pins. And when I think I went on a cruise overseas, maybe I don't remember, it was years ago, but like literally like sometimes you'll find crazy cool pins at sea. So make sure to bring pins even if you don't really trade that much at the parks anymore.
Yeah, especially because cast members have tons of unique ones because they've been all over the place with Disney.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I agree with the door magnets. We just ordered some off of Etsy, but I customized them. They were super cute. You can get some on Amazon. You can customize them on Etsy, but it does make it more fun to come back to the room for sure. I also agree with you. I tried to do the fish extender thing. Kind of, we weren't like in the organized thing. I mean, when I first joined all these Facebook groups, I was like, what is actually happening? So I was like, I can't be organized enough to like be in the big fish extender group, but we'll like pixie dust. But then by the end, we're just running around. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure we've like put the same thing in like all these fish extenders before. And then we came back to the room. Here's my thought on the fish extender thing. You just end up with so much junk. And it's already hard to keep your room clean. And then you're just getting so many bracelets and stickers. And a couple people go above and beyond. Someone like had hand felted a Halloween themed Christmas ornament. Like it was so cool.
Whoa.
But that's 1 out of 100 like tattoos. And I was just like, but the kids didn't want me to throw them away. So we just had shelves of like baggies full of like basically party favor stuff.
Oh my God.
I will not be participating next time.
I just don't have, I'm bad at packing. I'm a professional travel writer, terrible at packing. I'm a Gemini. It's how it happens. But I can't plan ahead like that. Like it's too much mental work for me. But on this cruise, which I hadn't really seen before, is that I saw a lot of people have stuff on their door that was like, take it if you want it.
Oh, cute.
And that's kind of fun. Like that's a new twist on it I wasn't familiar with. Even in our little area on the Disney Wonder, which I just got off board, there were 2 people that had little like dum-dum lollipop holders. And so you just take a piece of candy if you want it. And then our neighbor had this big one that was filled with stickers and toys and you just grab whatever. So
cute.
my
So
daughter
if you
would
want to
always
participate, you can like put a little something out.
Yeah, that was
I like
a fun
that.
way of doing it because then like she would just be like, I want a dinosaur. And then she'd have a little dinosaur and it would.
And that like really goes a long way with the 2-year-old.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I loved the Disney Treasure. I think the new Wish class ships are great, but I want to stress that I don't think that the other ships are bad. And there's this really interesting thing happening with Disney Cruise Line where like typically, there's a bunch of shiny new ships. You'd expect the old ones to kind of be a fart. You'd expect the old ones to be like, don't go on those, go on the new ones. And there are actually pros and cons to every single ship that Disney Cruise Line operates in a way where I'm currently working on a podcast episode breaking it down because I keep telling people like, they're all great. And it sounds like I'm lying and I'm not. Like the different experiences offered, the different feels of the ship. It's what Disney Cruise Line does as a whole that is so special. And the magic is the same on every vessel you go on. But these are a little shinier, a little more luxurious. If you're like someone who likes a fancy hotel, you'll probably be drawn to these more. If you want to be doing a lot of adult dining, you'll probably be drawn to these more. But there are still incredible vacations to be had of all kinds across all of their ships. So even though we're talking about the treasure, there's still so much to do with Disney Cruise Line across every vessel.
I love to hear that. This might be a loaded question, but do you have a favorite destination yet that you've gone to on a Disney cruise?
Oh my gosh. I mean, if I had to pick one that wasn't like a place that wasn't operated by Disney, I would probably choose Skagway. It was the first stop that we did on this Alaska cruise, and it was this city that it just feels like an oldie timey little mountain town. And there's a train that you take for 3 hours through the mountains that literally boards steps outside of the ship. Like you get off the ship and you're like, okay, I guess I'm on this oldie time train. And like you're in this beautiful little city and they had like a very cool coffee shop. And I got on a bus and drove a half hour and then zip lined in a rainforest. And it's like I did all that and then got back on a Disney Cruise Line ship and I saw Donald Duck and I was like, what is
You're
happening?
like, is this real life? Did I create this job for myself? This is
Yeah.
pretty incredible.
It's wild. It's absolutely wild. And I think a lot of the times, and I talk about this a lot in my Alaska episode, but a lot of times, like, you go on the Disney cruise to go on the Disney cruise. And I think that the more far flung the destination, like they have sailings in Norway, they have sailings out of Spain, they have like the Med, they have a bunch of sailings. And having just done Alaska, it's like the pairing of a real world vacation with a Disney Cruise Line vacation just gives you twice as many experiences and it really resonates so much deeper. So I think for me it would be like a real life space that isn't as much like a beachy, I'm relaxing all day kind of place. And I think Skagway is probably
That sounds amazing. Sign me up. Okay, it's always sad when a Disney cruise has to come to an end.
always.
Tell us your thoughts on packing up. There are two schools of thought. You can either carry your luggage off the next morning, or I thought the only option, because it was my first time doing it, was to pack up the night before, which was very stressful for me because we had 5 people and I was like, wait, but we all still need to like get ready in the morning. So we still kind of need to keep a lot of stuff back. I also really didn't want to wake up at 6 a.m. to go to breakfast. And then I don't know. I was kind of like, so we packed up, we kept one suitcase with us, but put the others out. So just tell us your thoughts on carrying luggage off versus packing up the night before.
They're both stressful. They're both stressful. I am someone who really stresses about luggage, like really stresses. And now that I bring my own pack and play when I travel for my child, but not for me, for my child. And so that just adds like you're automatically carrying one piece of luggage. Like boom, you're in. And so a lot of times lately, what I've realized having gone on 4 Disney cruises in a very short period of time is that it just for me now it depends on what the next day is. If I'm going straight to the airport, I'm checking as much through because I can't be like really just reconfiguring bags before a flight as much. I always pack, I guess, we're going back to packing. My brain's working again. I always pack a collapsible duffel if I'm going on a Disney trip. You never know. So I pack a collapsible duffel. And whenever I go to a theme park, a Disney trip, anywhere, I pack bagoo bags. They're like really small, compact, colorful tote bags. And so on this past trip, I knew I had to check stuff through. We had so much stuff, but I knew we were going to the airport. So I packed this tote bag full of everything we had in the room that night so I could easily just shove it in my luggage and go. If I'm going on a shorter sailing and it's for work, I am probably still checking a bag just because I have so much stuff. And I would say the end goal is to not have to take the elevator on the last morning. That's the end goal. So if I have luggage small enough or I'm like with people in a way where we can carry our bags down the stairs, then I'm not putting it through at night. But I'm always staying up late packing, even if I do or don't. I'm always up so late. I don't know why. I think I just am very meticulous. So ideally, I'd love to be a walk-off person, but I don't think it's ever going to happen for me. I'm always configuring. I'm always like shoving one duffel bag through and then like bringing something with. It's always just depends on what the next day is. But even when I hopped right in a rental car, when I parked it at a port, I still had so much stuff. It was still a mess.
I like the duffel bag idea, like having some of those collapsible ones stuffed in so then you can keep those back with you, whether it's souvenirs or the stuff that you're going to use the next day. It just gives you a lot of options at the end of the trip because it always feels like at the end of the trip, no matter what, you're like, how did I fit all this stuff in here? Like it's not fitting now and it's just stressful. So to have extra bags is helpful.
Yeah. Yeah, always, always, always. And also I find having an extra bag you can put through as well as an extra tote bag really helps for like, I needed the duffel to put through. And so I put that through outside my room at night. And then I use the collapsible tote to carry all of our like shower pajama type of sleepy stuff.
Did you guys stay at Disney World again on the back end?
No, we for that sailing we chose to front load Disney World and then just head out the next day. We did because again, to echo what I said before, I like to do as much as possible. I really like to just squeeze it all in. So we had a few hours. So I requested that there are buses that can take you to the airport or back to Disney World. I was like, take me back to a hotel. And so we went back to the Contemporary. I was able to hold my bags there because we just stayed there in the media thing. Like it was kind of set up like that. And then I have an annual pass, but my mom didn't have park admission at the time, I think is what it was. Yeah, I bought her an annual pass this year, so she didn't have it yet. And we just did a monorail tour of the resorts. So we went to the Polynesian, I got coffee, we walked around, we went to Grand Floridian, we got food. Like we just kind of did a little lap, and it was blissful because I got this day at Disney World that I didn't expect. So I was free and I was just able to do whatever I wanted. We were spontaneous, and it was a really, really nice way to end the trip.
Yeah, that's super fun. It's a great thing for people to remember that even if you don't have park passes one day, you can do so many fun things that aren't even expensive. We're going to Disney World in November. My kids are home. And now I'm like, ooh, we should do that and look at all the Christmas decorations in the monorail hotels. That would be really fun.
Oh yeah, it's hugely popular because it's so special. I do think the Christmas decorations are amended at Grand Floridian this winter because they are doing construction in the lobby.
They're not going to do the
bar.
Gingerbread house?
I believe not, but I would double check.
Okay.
I would just double check. I know that the bar has shifted plans a bit, but I'm not 100%. Okay. I haven't followed it that closely.
We'll
I have a weird post-it in my brain of it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it's always sad to say goodbye to a Disney cruise, but Carly, I end every podcast episode with the same question. If someone out there is considering this cruise, what is it about the Disney treasure that would make you say, just book it?
I would say if you want a cruise vacation, but you also want something that feels more, something that has more story to it, more adventure, more theming. Disney Cruise Line really just heightens the experience. And a lot of times on a standard cruise line, you'll be eating at different themed restaurants, but they're not resonating back to maybe animated films you've seen with your entire family or a film franchise that you grew up loving. Like there's just so many ties back to the nostalgia of the theme park specifically on this vessel. And also a lot of franchises we don't see as much. Like Aladdin doesn't always get the main stage. Somewhere like Encanto, your room being themed to that. Like we still don't have a massive Encanto presence in the park with an attraction or a hotel tie-in. And here it can be your stateroom. And so I think if any of those properties appeal to you, like Moana, Aladdin, even maybe Beauty and the Beast, like anything like that, I think this is really a special cruise. And if you're a theme park person who hasn't been on a cruise before, you will find this to be so familiar because of those three special spaces that I just think it's great.
Well, Carly, you have been amazing. I'm so happy I've gotten to know you. I'm now following along. I need a theme park expert in my life so that I know all the things to do at Disneyland, Disney World, Disney Cruises. Tell everyone where they can find you online.
Well, you can find my podcast, Very Amusing, on all of the places where you find podcasts, Apple, Spotify, etc. And you can find me, Carly Wiesel. It's spelled CarlyWisel. That's my handle across the internet, on Instagram, on TikTok, on literally everywhere. And I have a Facebook group, this little community called The Foamily. It started very randomly with me being obsessed with Starbucks cold foam and all of us wanting to talk about it and me going, well, why don't we all talk about it together? And now we have this community that is, I think, 6,000 strong, just kind of like supporting each other in theme parks and everything else. And it's just if you're looking for like an online community of wonderful people who like travel and people will drop things in the chat and be like, oh, I'm traveling to this city. Does anyone have recommendations? And I'll get like 10 responses of incredible things to do. So if you like to travel, you like theme parks, definitely join us there.
I love a good Facebook group. They're just the best. Yes. Well, thank you so much for being here. It was a pleasure getting to know you and learning all about the Disney treasure.
Thank you so much for having me.
That wraps up another episode of Trip Tales. If you have a trip you'd like to share about on the podcast, email me at triptalespodcast@gmail.com and I'll add you to the schedule. Also, be sure to follow the show so that you don't miss any upcoming vacation destinations. And if you have an extra minute in your day, please leave a review for the podcast. It helps more than you could imagine. Thank you so much, and I'll see you on the next episode of Trip Tales.